Welcome back. Our Saturday spotlight race this weekend is the Grade 2 San Antonio Stakes. $500,000 on the line. Will be live, bringing you coverage from Santa Anita, and it pits the reigning horse of the year, California Chrome, against the 2-year-old of the year from 2013, Shared Belief. Rivalry. They found themselves on the racetrack in the Breeders' Cup Classic. For more on Chrome versus Belief, we go to our esteemed analysts Simon Bray and Paul LoDuca. Gentlemen.
Yeah, let's relive the Breeders' Cup Classic last year, because this is the last time these two animals met, Shared Belief and California Chrome, and there was so much controversy, Paul. And you all know it's surrounded around this area here. This is where Bayern and Toaster New York came over on Shared Belief. Meanwhile, to the outside over where you are, California Chrome staying out of trouble, right?
Yeah, he was staying out of trouble. And then focus on, obviously, Bayern with the break. But a lot of things I think people forget is Toaster New York a little bit towards the first turn. He, I think, might have been a bigger steady for Shared Belief before they hit the clubhouse turn.
We'll go ahead and roll the tape in a sec, but it's Shared Belief, Bayern, Toaster New York, and California Chrome, 6, 7, 9, 13. Let's go ahead and roll the tape, and you'll see here, California Chrome to the outside, and here's Bayern. Right here, you can see Shared Belief gets absolutely hammered. And then Toaster New York, these white silks, right, Paulie? This is the move he makes.
Yeah, you see Toaster New York right here, and then there you're going to see the steady. Now, he had come over as well, and if you watch the beginning of this race, we are now at the finish line. If we can freeze it about right now, you can see we're about the finish line. And where is Shared Belief? Look at Mike Smith at this point, Simon. Here's a horse that already got sawed off at the start. And if you look, the California Chrome with a perfect beginning is standing there and has no trouble. Mike's already had to use Shared Belief to get in that spot. And now with the cutover of Toasted New York, you can see Mike is completely sitting on the backside of Shared Belief.
We couldn't have frozen it in a much better place. You can see what Mike Smith is encountering here. He's now pulling off the heels of horses. Marino down there in between horses also negotiating some traffic problems. Let's go ahead and roll it. And look, I don't know which side of the fence you're on. You could discuss that whole gate problem and coming out of the gate from now to Kingdom Come and whether they make the right decision. But look, Victor Espinosa, this is the one advantage I think Chrome has coming up this weekend, Paulie, the tactical advantage he has over a horse maybe like Shared Belief.
But I think that what you do notice, and I think a lot of people are forgetting, is we saw the break by Shared Belief, absolutely got sawed by Bayern, and we frozen in that spot. And what was he? A length behind California Chrome. He does have some tactical speed. If you look back now, you can see Toasted New York is in that great spot, and California Chrome is right here. Shared Belief right outside of the 4, who was Moreno that day. And to me, at this point, California Chrome is still in cruise control and Toasted New York. Those two horses, for me, had no issues of trouble at all. And Shared Belief, again, having to be used right now by Mike Smith. There is California Chrome right on the flank, basically, of Toasted New York, where Bayern has been cutting out those fractions. Now Mike is starting to ask Shared Belief now. And I always felt like the race was over here. You see Shared Belief right here starting to grind away.
Let's freeze it right here.
And this is a horse, to me, he ends up running 4th in this spot, and these 3 are going to kick away. But he had already run his race for me, and I just like the way he grinded Shared Belief. You know, he tried so hard, but at this point, you're looking at a horse that sawed off 4 horses, this horse who sawed off 2, and he just sat out there by himself, so he had a good trip.
Yeah, these are the 1, 2, 3 finishes in this order. 1, 2, 3, as when we cross the wire, of course, as you remember. And Shared Belief does well to gather up 4th there. But it's a thrilling horse race. What's your take on the start, Paulie? Do you really think, Bayern did the majority of the damage, or was Toast of New York just as guilty coming out of the gate?
Well, I don't know out of the gate. You know, Jamie Spencer did a great job. And, when Bayern cuts over on the rest of the field, what are you going to do as a jockey? You got to take advantage of it. So what did he do? He took advantage of it, and he was clear of Shared Belief. But to me, after that beginning, after that steady, going 1.25 miles, to lose the whole race by 4 live lengths, and it was a conveyor belt, I take out of the race that I think the stewards made the right call, because when you come out of the gate, it is so tough to control a 1,000-pound animal. And would it have cost Shared Belief? Yeah, I think it did. Every time this horse has been out of the gate, he's been pretty darn good. So, tough. It's going to be a good race.
It's tough because the way the track was playing. We froze it at the top of the stretch there because the 1, 2, 3 finishes ran like that way the whole way down the stretch.
Yes.
If Shared Belief was sitting second, maybe you still would have been second. But yeah, we can argue that for years to come whether they made the right call or not. But it's just good to see him rematch here. California Chrome, of course, would come out of the Classic, go and win on the turf in the Grade 1 Hollywood Derby, and be named the 2014 Horse of the Year, as well as champion 3-year-old. And of course, Shared Belief would come out of the Classic and go to the Malibu, a 7-furlong race, and get him set up for the San Antonio.
There's Shared Belief's bio, gentlemen. The only loss you just took an extended look at for the last several minutes was that trouble trip in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He has beaten just about everyone who's ever lined up against him.
Yeah, I mean, when you keep looking at that Classic, that video, it's a lot better than I remember it, him only losing that race by 4 lengths and the trouble that he had. And I still think horses get crushed out of the gate, and it costs them a lot of lengths and sort of gets a punch in the gut. I still believe that second time when you get steady, every time when you see a jockey go back on a horse and have to steady horse, that's completely taking the air out of the animal, and then he has to regather himself and still had another 1 1/8 to go. For him to only be 4 lengths back, and the other 3 had no trouble. I really, truly believe Shared Belief won the Malibu, and a lot of people thought Conquest Two-Step or Conquest, I think that's his name, was a phony horse, and he barely beat that horse. Then he came back to win. Shared Belief is going to give California Chrome all he can handle, and he might bury that field.
Yeah, and bear in mind, he's coming back from a 1.25 race back to 7/8.
Yes.
I mean, that's against Grade 1 competition. So, look, he's shown he can overcome adversity. We saw that in the Awesome again when he was parked 10 wide. Thanks to California Chrome's jockey Victor Espinoza, who was aboard Sky Kingdom that day. I don't expect to see any of those tactics.
Yeah.
Now we learned the post positions. Shared Belief in 5, California Chrome in 8.
What do you think the odds?
I think it's going to be 7-5 on Shared Belief.
What do you think?
4-5 Chrome.
Like 5-1 opportunity?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I would
will
say
be the favorite.
Horse
I
already
think
beat
4-5
him.
Chrome, 7-5 Shared Belief. I think it's going to be a situation like that.
It's going to be very interesting with the top horse.
The one thing I do want to add, though, I don't want to take anything away from Bayern. I don't know, even with a clean trip, if Shared Belief ever beats him, because he ran fantastic that day.
Right. And
No,
that
he
was
did.
my-
He did.
That was my point. I mean, no one was passing him.
Yeah.
My whole thing is I think a lot of people say, he wiped out. I understand he wiped out whatever. He wiped out the 6. He wiped out the 5. He didn't wipe out the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All the
Yeah.
other horses, they couldn't pass
Yeah.
him. He didn't wipe those ones out.
No,
So
yeah.
I think people are just like, oh, he wiped out this.
Yeah.
The other 9, he didn't. The other, 15,
Chrome
he
was
didn't
one
wipe
of them.
out.
Yeah, I think it's
didn't go
fair
down.
to assume that had Shared Belief had a clean trip, he could have been right there with Toast New York, California Chrome,
Yeah.
right in that top bunch. But I don't want to go so far as to say he was going to beat Bayern that day, because Bayern ran a sublime race that day. He carved him out pretty quick. No one was passing him late, and he put up a final clocking that was very impressive. So, but we get to see both of these horses coming up on Saturday in California Chrome and Shared Belief. It is a rivalry we have been asking for. Installment 1, compromised by that start we just take a look at. Installment 2 coming up this Saturday at Santa Anita.